Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome, folks. Today, the Hungry Gamer is back with another game review, and today we're talking about Manor from Arcane Wonders. And what this game is this is a dice placement and drafting game with a little bit of action selection going on at the same time. And so what's going on in this game is you are an architect for a home building conglomerate or whatever. And they're like, we're tired of the same old cookie cutter houses, make us something cool. And basically you have carte blanche to build these houses however you would like. And so what's going to happen is, on your turn, you're going to roll your dice, and you're going to have to place all of the numbers of one number. So in other words, if I roll 5 dice, I get 2 2s, a 3, a 4, and a 5, I could place just the 1 5, or I could place both 2s, whatever. And where you're going to be able to place these dice is either out onto the board, where you're going to be getting new tiles, which are different rooms for your house, or you're going to be doing some kind of a advertisement, which is going to get you stuff at the end of the round, or you are going to be taking people on tours through your existing house. And each of these tiles is going to have on it a certain number. So if you're going on a tour, you have to place that number on the house. And the more dice you can place at the same time on a house tour going in one direction, the more points that you're going to wind up getting for that house tour. And you're going to leave the dice there. You're also going to get points for dice left over in your manor at the end of each round. And you're going to play through 4 rounds where you're going to use all of your dice. You're going to be drafting these different tiles, building out your house, doing more marketing, which is going to eventually get you more dice and more points. And at the end of the game, after 4 rounds, the person with the most points is going to be the winner. And in general, I've found that the game takes about 40 minutes, 30 minutes, or even a little bit less if you're only playing a 2-player once you know what you're doing. So, what do I like about this game? First off, it's a pretty good production when it comes to the way things fit in the box. It's a small box. The dice, I like the dice quite a bit. And the way the tiles look is overall pretty good. Though I do have 2 little quibbles about those tiles, which we'll get to a little bit later. So I like that. In general, I like dice placement. I like that mechanic where you're going to put out all of your dice of one number at any given time. You have to choose so you're going to have to decide, do I want to go for something big now or do I want to wait and maybe not get it later? I always like that mechanic. I think it reminds me of Monasterium, though there's a lot more going on in Monasterium than there is in Dice Manor, but it's that same idea. And I always like that. And I always like dice placement. I like the idea of the dice being your worker that you're throwing out there, and depending on what you roll, it's going to do something different. I always think that works quite well. And again, it works well here as well. So, shouldn't say well that many times in one sentence, but here we are. And then the last thing that I particularly like about it is it's just light. It's just quick. It's easy. It has some good thought that you have to put into it. There are some hard choices that you're making, but it's very simple. It's very much like a Sunday afternoon game. It's an end of the night kind of palate cleanser style game. And there is always a place for that on a shelf. And if you're into kind of the dice placement, then this might be the one that you want. So what are my quibbles with the game? Well, the first thing is you are still at the mercy of the dice. And there is mitigation, so it's not that bad, but you're always at the mercy of the dice and what it is you're going to get. And there are definitely times when you're going to feel like I just can't roll the same number, so I can't take a big house tour or whatever's going to be happening there, or I can't quite get the number that I want because I keep getting bumped out of the spot, and I just can't do what I want. So there is a bit of that. I mean, of course, that's any game, but it does feel a little bit more prevalent here. That sometimes you just can't get what you want. You can't bump somebody if you can't get more of the same number die on the same spot. Next thing I'll say is, when it comes to the tiles, I like the way they look and all, but they don't quite squeeze together perfectly, and some of the they're not puzzle pieces, but kind of puzzle piece shapes. Don't always squeeze together perfectly. But really, the only substantive quibble that I have is sometimes it's hard to see the doors on the tiles. It's like, oh, is this art or is this a door? I mean, obviously it's art because it's art of a door, but is this a door or is this a chest or is this a bookshelf or a painting or something? Sometimes it can be hard to actually tell that on first glance, and then you place your tiles in a way that doesn't make any sense. So there is a little bit something there. And then the last thing I'll say is, with this being just kind of a light palate cleanser style game, there's not a ton of depth when it comes to kind of the in-game scoring. There's always the same in-game scoring conditions. You're always going for the same thing, which does lead you a little bit towards building the same type of house, though the way the tiles are random does mitigate that just a bit. But there you have it, folks. That is Dice Manor. This is a very pleasant game. If you are looking for that dice placement and kind of building your own wacky house, almost Winchester Mystery House style, and you like the idea of you get the 3 options of where you're going to use your dice every time, then this is a game that's worth checking out. So there you have it, folks. That is Dice Manor. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, share, maybe become a channel member. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.